Next week, Reverend Devine is talking about forgiveness. Well, so am I. And that's because it's a big thing. We could talk about it all year long and wouldn't run out of stuff. Big word, big can of worms. Lots and lots and lots written and spoken about it. Some of those writing and speaking about it contradict each other. Some of the times they contradict themselves. It's messy. So I'm hoping this morning I can bring us a little bit of simplicity and clarity, some places to hang on to, some handholds. And that's why I titled my week, Forgiveness, Why and How and What If. So, just getting started. I went to the dictionary because I had this very clear idea of the common sense forgiveness. It's giving up, giving out. Made sense. Wanted to make sure I was right. And you know what? I was. It is that simple. First definition of give in the dictionary. Forgive is put together from early English for and give. First definition of give is to present without coercion and without expectation of getting anything back. To give a gift. And for, as a prefix like that, you see it in all the old words like forbear and forego and so on, means out and off. So that's what we're doing with forgiving. We are giving off, giving out, giving away. And then another spot that it always comes up, maybe first, does in my head often, especially when you've got a background, a childhood in any of the Judeo-Christian tradition, is God forgives. The forgiveness of sins, the forgiveness, the gift that God gives us. And sometimes with strings attached, like if we're repentant enough or if we're saved. Okay. Well, I got news for you. Ernest Holmes, our founder, has news for you. God doesn't forgive. What? Well, that sounds weird, but no, God does not forgive. And you know why not? It's because God doesn't know there's anything that needs to be forgiven. God doesn't know sin. God knows all the things in the world and all the energies circulating, but God doesn't judge. God just loves. God is infinite, unlimited, unconditional love, just pouring itself all the time. No forgiveness necessary. Ernest Holmes, who is founder of our philosophy, he puts it this way. Let's find it here. God knows no evil. Why should it disturb anyone to be told that God knows nothing of his sin? And excuse all the masculines, you know this was written in the 20s, okay? The tragedy would be if God did know. If God knew sin, he would be a sinner. For what the infinite mind knows must be. Sin or mistakes are outside the province of reality, big capital R, reality. So God's not doing the forgiving here. That beautiful Michael Beckwith line, God is good all the time. Well, God is love all the time. Nothing held back, nothing unforgiven. But here we are with all this stuff that's unforgiven. So where did that come from even? Well, I have a theory, and you may disagree with me, but I think this holds up. And that is, as the divine beings we are, move from that oneness, that wholeness that is the divine being itself, into a body, onto a planet, into space and time, God wanting to play the game of what it's like to be an individual, Okay, as an individual, there comes this degree of being separate. Just, it comes with the territory. It's the paradox of we are one, but we are separate from each other. We have boundaries. God has no boundaries. We have boundaries. We have edges. We have skin. When we bump up against each other, we bump. We don't just merge and meld. Okay? And we have these identities that we take on as our own personal identity. God being itself as Lin, or as you, or as you. And to intensify and organize that identity, and to keep that identity safe, we've developed this wonderful tool that we call an ego. Now, right off the bat, the ego is not the enemy. We are not trying to banish the ego. We're not trying to live without an ego. Maybe if we were sitting on a mountaintop in meditation, but not living in the world, in our skins. Not, the ego helps us not wander out into traffic and get hit by a bus. Thank you very much. It's got a use, and it's got a purpose. And one of its jobs, and it takes it very seriously, is to protect us from harm and protect our identity. And one of the ways it does that is anytime in the world, in a situation, in relationship, anytime we get hurt, anytime we are harmed, the ego grasps onto that and says, ooh, hold that thought. Wraps it up tight, puts it in its own little box. You can picture a really good, tight jewel box if you want. And it plants that inside us so that we won't forget it, so that it protects us, the ego thinks, from going out and making the same mistake again. Don't put your hand in the fire. Remember that. So, all the best intentions in the world, it plants these memories, these things as constructs, as lumps, as little balls of hot energy. And good plan, except we're getting hurt physically or mentally or emotionally all the time, and each one is a new little box. And pretty soon we're all stuffed up full of little boxes, little balls of energy, clogged up, stuffed full. No room for that energy that is God energy and freedom and experience of good. There's no room. We got all our boxes tight, packed in there. And there's a reason that all the prosperity teachers in New Thought, every prosperity program you're ever going to see has forgiveness as a step. And that's because we need to learn how to release those, get them out of the way, clear a space so that God energy can circulate the way it's supposed to, the way it's meant to, through us. For instance, Diane Harmony with her 5 gifts for an abundant life. The gifts is an acronym for gratitude, intention, forgiveness, tithing, and surrender. So see, forgiveness is right there in the middle. Important, necessary. We can't let things flow if we're holding on to all these lumps. And the only time Ernest Holmes actually even talks about forgiveness when he's not explaining and translating the words of Jesus in the textbook. The one time he uses forgive is in a treatment he does around rheumatism and bad digestion. Interesting, because the pain and congestion of our joints and of our gut is a body as above, so below for that congestion of all those unforgiven things. we got to learn to let them go. So that brings us to, where is this forgiveness I'm supposed to come from? What tools do I have? Well, we've already discarded the ego as a possibility. The ego knows how to put the stuff in. It does not know how to take the stuff out. That's not its job. In fact, there's a saying that asking the ego to forgive is like asking an arsonist to put out the fire. It has nothing in its makeup that says that that's a good idea. It thinks it's keeping us safe. Okay, so let go of the ego. How about our rational minds, our intellects, our great capacity for figuring it all out? We're so good at that. Well, there's a trap in that as well, because when we start looking at a situation and trying to figure it out so that we can forgive it, we often go to that place of, I forgive her because she was too stupid to know what damage she was doing. Or I forgive him because I'm so much bigger and wiser than him. Well, those are right back into ego. Those are right back into separation. And they may even be factual. Maybe I am wiser than him. But it's not going to give us the healing we need. It's not going to dissolve the lump. So, if not the head, how about the heart? Well, of course, heart. That's where we love. Yes. But right now, in this case, the heart is feeling really scared, vulnerable. The heart is who the ego's been saying, you better not go there, it's not safe. So we can't ask our heart to just say, oh yes, you're forgiven. It's too scary. It still hurts. So I would suggest there's a place beneath, underneath, behind the heart. Or at least that's how I visualize it in my own spiritual work. This center in me, it's about this big, but it's real and it's in there. And that's that space that has never forgotten that I am the oneness that is God. That has never forgotten the truth of who I am. And that space, regardless of what has happened to my personality and my sense of self as an identity and as a separate being, that space has never been wounded or diminished or victimized. That space is pure God knowing itself. And from that space, the possibility might open up of, oh yeah, you don't need to hold on to that. It's not doing you any good. Let it go. And one way I said God doesn't forgive, but one way we can language it if it helps, if it really does help to say, I don't know how to do this, but Spirit does. Okay, that's one of my mantras, whatever situation I'm in. But if we do want to attach the word forgiveness to our idea of God, then possibly let's do it the same way we do the word love. Okay, that forgiveness isn't conditional. It isn't based on how repentant I or someone else is. What if God was just in instant, automatic, continuous, constant, beautiful forgiveness? Forgive, 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 forgive. And then in that space within me, I'm attempting to align with that and allowing myself to know, forgive, 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 forgive. Consider that possibility. And as we go deeper into that space, too many papers. Here's how Ernest describes it. Excuse me. It's the trouble with this kind of mic. You can't turn away from your cough. Ernest says, we should never hesitate to say that we know the truth, capital T, Because we do. For the realization of the unity of God and man is the truth. We simply need a greater realization of this. How are we to get it? Only by penetrating deeper and yet deeper into our own divine nature, pushing further and further back into the infinite. I like that. Pushing further and further back into the infinite. And from there, forgive, forgive, forgive. Well, that sounds great if we are already in touch with that. And that's a big part of our work, is finding that, seeking it out, opening up to it. But are we supposed to wait to start our forgiveness work until we're grounded there? I hope not, because we might have a long wait. And forgiveness has to start right now. It's imperative, it's necessary, it's survival. Maybe not in the ego's terms, but in our spiritual terms. We need to release. We need to forgive. So where can we start from? Well, we got to start from right where we are, wherever that may be. A wonderful story told by Edwene Gaines. Any of you know Edwene? Oh yeah. My very favorite on the planet prosperity coach. Just an amazing woman. She's a unity minister. She's soft and sweet and southern till she needs to make a point, and then she just hits like a hammer and cuts like a knife. Man, you got to do this. This is imperative, and this is how you do it. So she comes through Albuquerque once in a while. Take her workshops if she's here. Oh boy, wonderful woman. But she tells a story about a situation fairly early in her own spiritual awakening and path, where she was handed a fierce and scary medical diagnosis, life-threatening, freaked her out. She takes it to her spiritual coach and says, "What do I do with this? How do I heal this?" See, she knew it could be healed. She just didn't have a tool right then. She's asking her spiritual coach, "What's my tool for this?" And he tells her, "Guess what, Edwene? It's going to have to be forgiveness. The way you're going to heal this is forgiveness work." Well, shoot. Because the minute she heard the word forgiveness, the guy she least forgave was right there in her consciousness. It was a first ex-husband who had treated her very badly. And she knew she hadn't forgiven him. She hadn't wanted to forgive him. She had not only not forgiven him, she'd built up her own identity around Edwene as his victim. Thank you very much. She was going to have to release that too. Okay. But how could she do that? She knew she had to. She'd been given this ultimatum. It was scary enough, she knew she had to do it. So the way she tells it, she found herself sitting on the edge of her bed, beating her fist on the mattress next to her, and shouting at the top of her lungs, "I forgive you, you son of a bitch." I love it. It makes me laugh, and I've used it, and it works, okay? If that's where you gotta start, that's where you start, okay? And from there, as you lighten that up, as you let that out, it's possible to work more quietly, more peacefully. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. Because basic to all of this is that forgiveness isn't for the other guy. It's only for ourselves. We get confused because we think, well, if I forgive them, they'll have gotten away with something. If I forgive them, I've let them off the hook. Well, you know what? The only hook is in us. That person, if they even remember the damage they did, they tell a whole different story about it. That Terry Cole Whitaker book, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. Love that title. Well, you can flip that. What I think of you is really none of your business. It's not what's in your mind and heart. It's all in me. And the only one that's going to benefit from the forgiveness work is me. Another old saying, and another favorite, holding a grudge is like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. Okay? So when are we going to stop taking the poison and start taking the antidote? Doesn't that sound like a lot better idea? And as we do it, as we start it, we can start as simply, and like there's one Buddhist, a version of the Buddhist loving kindness meditation that really just goes down the list of I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. I forgive my parents, I forgive my family, I forgive my teachers, I forgive my boss, I forgive the world leaders who I think have done a awful job, whatever's got energy, whatever is a lump. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. And in so doing, we open the space. We let fresh air in. We'll also probably discover, as it starts to actually make a difference, as we start to actually clear the grudge and maybe just hold a fact, we may discover that it's not only I forgive you. We've got tangled up in it, and it's also I forgive me. Because sometimes the story includes all kinds of stuff about I shouldn't have made myself vulnerable to that. I shouldn't have participated in that. What was I thinking to allow that person to hurt me? So we're beaten up on ourselves as well as the other person. So I forgive him and I forgive me. Reverend Michelle Ingalls tells a story of a childhood experience of her own where as a fairly little girl, she overheard her father, who was in a state, angry and frustrated and probably in fear, dealing with bills he couldn't pay, looking at, oh my God, how do I make this work? And he blurted out, and she overheard him, he blurted, if we didn't have all these damn kids, we wouldn't be in this position. Oh. And this little girl, these damn kids, guess what she heard? She heard, this damn kid. So not only was she hurt by her father's words, but she built up, this is what kids do, she made sense out of that by building a belief that she was at fault, that she was not wanted, that she was an impediment to prosperity wherever she showed up in the world. And as is often the case, the younger we are when we take something on like that, the less it's verbal even to figure out how to talk about it and address it. We just take it on faith. Oh, this is who I am. So she found herself in her adulthood being that person that wasn't wanted, that wasn't worthy, that couldn't possibly be prosperous. And until she started her forgiveness work and started the layers of I forgive him, I forgive myself, I forgive what I thought about it, that lightens it all up. That lets it dissolve. That allows room for a new way of knowing the truth about who I am, who we all are. The presence of God living itself as me, as you, as you. So that's our job, guys. This is urgent. This is necessary. We need to start right now. And the payoff just happens to be Independence Day. The payoff is freedom. Freedom from all those little lumps, from all that energy sucking us dry. The freedom to let the flow of God energy, God's Spirit, God's good flow through us like, lovely image of mine, open all the windows, let the breeze blow through. I want that for us. We deserve that. And a way to get there is, one good place to start is just, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. Oh, so let's take that into treatment, shall we? Let's close our eyes, if that's comfortable. Just take a big, deep breath. Oh. And as we center in, as we go deep, there is that space within us that knows God is all there is. Knows God has no boundaries, holds no grudges. One life just pouring itself, its love out endlessly, fully, freely, unconditionally. One love. And if that God, that love is all there is, then I am one with it. Every part of me, no exceptions. The truth of God as one is my truth now. Our truth now. Each of us being ourselves, being God, loving itself as us. And in that knowing, in that feeling, it is from that knowing that I speak my word right now. And I speak my word for freedom. I speak my word for open space and willingness and possibility. I speak my word for the joyful practice of forgiveness in my life. Forgiveness in my daily prayer work, forgiveness in my meditation and contemplation time, forgiveness in the moment when an old thing pops up, an old memory. I forgive. And forgiveness in a current thing. Someone gets in my face and I start to react. And I just take it to, I forgive. Never load that package even for a moment. I am free. I am free to be the God being that is my birthright. I am free to be loved and loving. I am free to be abundant and prosperous. I am free to know I am safe. And I am so grateful right now to feel that feeling. I am so grateful right now to feel the way it's already shifting inside of me and reflected back from outside of me in my relationships, in my situations. I am so grateful that this is the truth of who I am, and Spirit is always right here within me, helping me to remember that. I am grateful that I can say, I forgive. And so in this gratitude, I release my word. I just let it go and I let it be. I know that it is already operating, already manifesting in expected and unexpected ways. I let go, knowing it is already so. And please join me in saying, and so it is.